Okay, so first things first, before we get started, I always like to prime my skin before I start. I personally, you guys, just so you know, I'm using way too much Houdini because she's getting low already. I clearly love the brush spray. Okay, so first things first, I like to take our Stay Spray and use it as a primer. I always do this. There are two ways that you can put it on. You can just kind of hold it out and then spray your face. Oh my gosh, I'm still getting this SIM card thing. Ugh. Or you can take a Perfector sponge, which if you don't have one of these, I think they're in stock and they are the best thing ever. I mean, look how awesome. This is like one that's used, but this is the difference. Like, you see the difference in size? It's squishy, it's amazing, it's the best thing ever. So I feel like I get better control if I spray it onto this sponge. So I just spray a couple sprays onto the sponge. You guys, it smells like a vacation. It smells so good, it's like coconut. The one without SPF kind of still comes out as like a good spray on your face. So you can just put it on, but I just like to pat it in. This is how I do it at the end too. Mostly just so I know exactly where it's going and that I'm getting the right kind of coverage. Hi everyone. I'm so glad you guys are here hanging out. So we're gonna bring this back to the basics of just straight highlighting and contouring, which is what the basis of mascara is all about and what makes a mascara makeup so great, right? And all the dimension. I mean, because you can see my skin, obviously I have tons of redness and I don't have necessarily tons of like discoloration or any other spots, but the redness is major, right? So we're gonna just create dimension. I don't have a defined cheekbone, don't worry. I don't have a defined jawline. I don't have a thin nose. I mean, we can make it work. So I put everything back into my triple decker compact. So if you are one of the lucky ones who does not struggle with anything that you have to color correct, then you are going to just close your eyes for these steps, okay? You're lucky, we're not so lucky. So I always, for my skin, I feel like I can't actually see, I've tried it, okay? I can't actually see my contour correctly until I have the redness like diffused. And I'm just gonna quickly go over all of my redness with the blush and bronzer, the thicker end of the blush and bronzer. You can use the Buffy brush. I sometimes use this, but I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit lighter of coverage. And then I'm gonna go into this contour color here. See how it's very light? Called Aspen. And this, my friends, is amazing. I know I've shown some of you before and some of you haven't seen it, but Aspen is like, for real, a magic eraser on our redness. And I'm just gonna put a very thin layer. It might not totally camouflage all of it, but I just wanna show you if we just add in this layer of Aspen, even if you just do it super lightly, you see how that is just now a little bit diffused. If you do it with the Buffy brush, it does it like way more densely, but I want to put my makeup on over this, so I'm not going to put too much, but you see how that just like disappeared. So I'm going to keep putting this Aspen on very lightly, just stippling it, mostly just on my super red areas, which is like my cheeks, my chin, which I can't even see with the comments. I like to do this on my nose, and I do like to take the Buffy brush with this for my nose because I don't know, can you tell? I have big pores on my nose, but when I use Aspen, it kind of like fills them in. It's really crazy. It's like a pore filler. So I like to just put this all over my nose on every part of it. Can you tell how that, I mean, it's not gonna make your pores go away. We have to be realistic, right? It's not gonna make your pores go away. We have pores, we have wrinkles. This is not gonna like magically make your pores and wrinkles go away. The point of this makeup is to look like your actual skin I mean, it really is, but just better, okay? So let's keep it realistic. We still have, hi Lisa, aw, hi Bonnie, hi Shantae. So I like to do that up here. See how I have pores? Obviously we all have pores, but I have pretty like big pores up on my forehead. So I like to use this all over up here too. And when I'm filling in with for my pores, I always use this Buffy brush. It just has a really more compact, dense coverage. Now again, if you don't have either of these issues, if you don't have kind of bigger pores or redness, see how that is just diffused, right? It's just diffused. You can still see the redness kind of poking through. That's okay because our actual highlight colors have coverage. I'm really just trying to like take the like edge off of all the redness, right? It's just enough to where I can now put my contour on and actually see it instead of it just kind of muddling in with my redness. So if you are one of the lucky ones who doesn't have the redness or melasma or things that you're needing to color correct, this is where you're gonna start. So the number one key, in my opinion, to the best contour is the best tools. You can, if you're on a budget, I totally understand, and you only have this one brush, you can kind of squeeze it together, and then that will give you a similar, I mean, obviously not the same, but a similar size to this Detail Hack brush. But truly, the Detail Hack brush is the best brush for contouring. It makes it really easy. So if you're struggling with contour, the number one thing, it could be the tool that you're using. If you don't have any of our brushes, definitely invest in one or two. It makes a huge, huge difference on how the product actually goes on your skin. So my favorite brush for contouring is the Detail Hack. It has this straight edge, and I always put the contour right there on that edge. So I'm gonna use indigo today because indigo is a little bit darker, so this will help you see exactly what you need to do. Now, I had somebody who asked me, shoot, now I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked me if you have a narrow face already and you're struggling with where to put your contour, this is what I'm gonna tell you. So get the contour on your brush so that it's just really on this edge of the Detail Hack. And if you have a narrow face, don't worry about trying to bring your contour in too much. Just really focus it right here, and that's it, okay? If you have a more round face, if you have an oval face, I mean, we all have to kind of figure out exactly what looks best for our individual face. And what looks best for me may not look best for you. But I'm giving you the general rule for everyone. Yes, Susan, it was you. Okay, Susan, so what you're gonna do is, for everybody, you're really gonna start out, I'm gonna actually show you two ways of contouring. I'll do my this side of my face, our normal contouring way, and I'll do this side of my face a little bit lifted so that you can see the difference. So if you, no matter who you are, you're really starting your contour here at that, where this like part of your ear meets your like jaw, right? Right here. And you can kind of put your finger in there and feel, you can open your mouth, like you can feel where your actual cheekbone is in there, okay? Obviously, I don't have one that's prominent, but you can actually feel it, right? So you're gonna put your brush right here on that edge where it meets your ear and then it gets to your face, right? So this, I can actually feel with my brush, my cheekbone under there. So if you have a narrow face, you're really just going to focus it right here. Just that much, okay? So you're just kind of creating a little bit of a definition. Then when you're blending, you can blend it down a little bit, but it's really gonna be mostly focused up here. For the rest of us, you're gonna keep following that cheekbone, like I can feel it. You're hugging your cheekbone. You're gonna keep following it, and your trajectory, instead of going down to your lip, your trajectory is going over to like your nose, okay? So you're trying to do this. So kind of point it in between where your nose and your lip is, okay? You don't wanna go lower than that because that doesn't lift your cheekbone, which is what we're doing. The whole point of contouring is to give you that definition and lift. So we're gonna keep following it, and you're gonna wanna stop when you get to the color iris part of your eye. You don't wanna do anything inside of that, okay? So I don't blend when I'm doing this. I think that it's easier to see what you need to do next if you don't blend it until the end. So don't worry, obviously this looks crazy and I'm making it even more defined based on, you know, teaching you and needing to have it for the video or whatever, you know, because it looks a little bit darker in person than it does on this camera. So you have that one cheekbone done. Now on this side, if you kind of, instead of starting it here, we're just gonna kind of start it over here. I can feel my cheekbone, right? Instead of angling it up like where our ear is, we're gonna really kind of just bring it up. So this is going to help lift your cheekbone. See how it goes instead of right here? It's very slight. You don't wanna make it a big difference, but we're gonna bring it up and then angle this down a little bit. So then it kind of looks like a swoop instead of a line. Can you tell that difference? Maybe not until we're done. But you're just gonna kind of bring it up into your hairline and you're bringing it up. When we blend it, you'll see it a little bit better, but just up. So it's gonna be slight. We're not trying to like, you know, we don't want it to be like too noticeable. We're just lifting, okay? So then when you do, the next step is your forehead. If you don't have a tall or a wide forehead, then you can totally skip this step and we can customize this to your face. So I do have a tall and wide forehead. Because of that, I literally cover this whole surface of the detail hack brush. So if you are trying to minimize a larger forehead, that's what you'll do too, okay? So, is it better to swipe towards the hairline or away from it? I think that when you're starting out, do this one, okay? Where you're just kind of placing it here and bringing it down. That's just when you're placing the color. When you're blending it out, I'll show you what you do when you blend it when we get to that step. Okay, so now we have this whole surface of this detail hack brush covered. I'm gonna do this whole part of my forehead, okay? So I just kind of swipe it all the way across. If you don't have a tall forehead or you're not really trying to minimize it that much, you can just do the corners. You can just do the top. I do a lot, you guys. I am not afraid of contour. I love contour, especially because all of ours are so blendable. I really exaggerate this contour. I really do. Okay, so we're just kind of placing it. I'm going back over it so that you can see it even better. And this is like one of our darkest contours. But see how now, the reason we contour is to try to bring the eyes down. So they're not focused here on our big forehead, right? They're focusing down a little bit further. So I'm gonna put a little bit more right here of Astoria. This is like a little bit ashier. Okay, so see that? So now I know it looks crazy, but it's the point, okay? So you have to know what comes next. So then now we're gonna do our jawline. You wanna start this behind your ear. You can actually feel where your jaw bone is. So you're going on that, okay? So you're starting it right here, just behind it. Don't get it on your actual ear. Just behind that, and then beneath where your actual jaw is, right here, okay? Now you don't wanna go too much on your face because if you do that, you're gonna see it. So you have to be really careful. If you don't have a defined jaw, you can go slightly on this edge, but you gotta make sure that you blend it. Otherwise, everybody's going right beneath, okay? So from the back and underneath, and then all the way under your chin. So right there, you see that? See how we're just adding that shadow? We're gonna do that on the other side, right here. And then under. And this is a small step, but it makes a big difference, especially for somebody like me who really doesn't have that definition at all, okay? And then I like to just kind of bring it down. You can kind of bring it down your neck, whatever you wanna do. So we're not blending yet. See how we have all of those places? The next is our nose. I know that nose contour is scary. There are multiple ways to do it. I still, because I love this brush and this edge, this is the brush that I use. You can use this smaller end if that's easier for you to just like use that. I think for me, it's easier to use the edge of this brush. Now I like to use an ashier contour for my nose because I already have the redness. I don't really need to bring that back. So I don't use my indigo contour for my nose. I always go back to Astoria. Astoria is one of those universal contours that looks good on mostly everybody. So I recommend it all the time because it's just a great one. So that's what I like to use on my nose, or shadow is a good one to use on your nose as well. Okay, so you put this on that edge, just on that edge. Now you're going to literally just place it. So when you're trying to contour your nose, the point is to make it thinner, to appear thinner. The further out you go, the wider your nose is gonna look. So don't do that. We wanna try to get these two lines on the very bridge of our nose as close together as possible, okay? So we have it on the corner of our brush. We're just going to kind of stamp it, so press it onto your nose, and then I like to just kind of wiggle it up and wiggle it down. And then, that's a lot. I must have put a lot on my brush. But I wanna show it to you anyway. So see how that gives you like really a good line. We're gonna blend it out, so don't worry. Hi, Randy. And yay, Sarah, I'm so glad. Okay, so now we're gonna do this other side. So now, see how we're that close? It's okay, get that close, okay? So you're gonna go right here, you're gonna stamp it, you're gonna kind of wiggle it up and wiggle it down. And that gives you two lines to your nose, okay? Now you're gonna take this other end and you're gonna kind of blend that up toward your eyebrow. That's where you want it to go, up toward your eyebrow. And then you can kind of like connect these lines here at the bottom, okay? I know it looks crazy, I do, I know it does. But this is the whole point of nose contouring, and it makes such a difference, okay? So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Okay, so then the next step, so I always like, let me just fix this a little bit. And the thing about creams is if you aren't happy with the placement of anything, it's fine. You can just wipe it off and start over. Don't worry. If you mess it up, it's not really a mess. Like, you are gonna blend this out anyway, so don't worry about getting it exactly perfect. Again, Susan, if you have a narrow face, you're really just gonna focus your contour up here, okay? Just right there. With your nose, the same thing. Maybe you wanna kind of do a lighter one and just use this really and just sculpt out the line. If you have like a bulbous nose, I know that it's harder. So I'm gonna do those Zoom classes. So sign up for the contour class if you have these problems, and I will help you individually. It's kind of hard to like address every single person's face when we're just doing like this generic live, okay? So now we have our contour on, okay? The next step is our main highlight. The main highlight shade is the one that matches your skin tone the most. If you haven't gotten a color match from me, fill out the form and I will send you my recommendations for your skin tone, okay? This is an important step. If you're a little bit darker than you are in the winter, we can work that out, don't worry. So now you're going to take I like to use the blush and bronzer brush for this. So we already have our contour line, right? You're gonna start your main highlight shade here in between your contour on your cheek and on your jaw. You're just placing this color. And what's really cool is I think a lot of times we are used to having colors that exactly match our skin tone. What's cool about all of the mascara colors is that you could have a shade that's several off of what you think would be perfect. And then when you blend it in, it all just like marries together and looks really good. So make sure that when you're placing the colors, you're just placing them on. We're not necessarily blending yet. The blending is the magic, and the blending is essential. And so that'll be our last step, but the blending is where we get it to look perfect, okay? So the key here is to remember to use less than you think, okay? When I am putting this product on, I am literally tapping it like 2 or 3 times, okay? Just tapping it on there and not like swiping it in there, nothing like that. You want like you want it to just barely be on there, okay? That is the key here. So we've already done this under part. Let's go around our nose and lip. And then we are going to be adding our accent brighter highlight here under our eyes. So we don't need to add this color there. For the people who don't have the redness, the key for mascara is that it's all one layer, okay? So we're just putting it where it needs to go and blending it in. We're not doing a whole face and then adding our contour and then blending it. Does that make sense? So I like to do just like right here where this contour line kind of meets my forehead, and then the rest is the accent highlight, okay? So then my personal preference for accent highlight, because the accent highlight now is what brings the light to our face. That's what brings all of our best features forward. It's the essential, okay? It's so essential. So I like to use the Buffy brush. If you only have this brush, totally can use it. Even if you have the Detail Hack brush, you can use that. The Buffy brush is what I prefer. So I like to have a bright under eye. So my main color is sandy. I go all the way to white peach for my under eye because I just love that light. If you have a lot of fine lines and wrinkles under your eyes, be careful here. You don't want to go too light with that, okay? And we want to make sure that we completely blend it in and like really press it in with our fingers so that we don't have any extra there. The key is to not go too light if you do have more mature skin or fine lines and wrinkles. If you don't, then you can go a little lighter. Okay, so I like to start it here. Look how bright that is. It's so awesome. I like to start it here in this corner under my eye. Then you're going to bring it under across. So this is for all those years that we did concealer, this is what we did, right? For most of our life, that was what we thought was what we were supposed to do. So in order to not like bring attention to those parts that we don't really want to bring attention to, we're going to bring this back down into a pie piece and fill in this whole part, okay? So it's this on the side of your nose, up above your contour, and under your eye. I do this whole part. You don't have to go all the way over here. I just personally like it. So I'm just pressing it in. We're not blending really. We're just pressing it in and filling this in, okay? But you see how bright that is compared to this side? If you aren't using your accent highlight, use it. It really makes such a difference. So we're doing our under eyes and T-zone. So now we're gonna do this side. We're just gonna go here under our eye and across, down the side of our nose, and then up to connect them, okay? Oh yeah, Susan, those are two of my favorites too. I mean, I love the blush and bronzer brush. I love all of them. It's so hard to choose. Okay, so see how now we have this brightness. I know it looks crazy, but we haven't blended it yet. And once it blends, that's the magic, okay? So then we're gonna do our T-zone. Your T-zone is right here. So let me show you with these brushes. When you're doing your accent highlight, everything within this triangle, like take a mental picture when you're doing your makeup. Everything within this triangle is getting your accent brighter highlight. This is what's bringing the light and life to your face, okay? So we've done our under eyes. Now we're gonna do like here on our forehead. I kind of like to like fan this out above my brow. I always have that redness there. So right here. Then you're gonna go down the middle of your nose, in between your contour lines. I like to use this like edge of the Buffy brush. You can also just use your finger. So down the center. Don't worry if it's perfect because we're still gonna blend it in. And then a little bit here and a little bit here, okay? So this is all of the steps for, well, we haven't done our cheek color, but I like to blend before I do that. So these are all the main first steps that you're taking when you're putting your highlight and contour on. Now I know that this seems like it's taking forever. I'm really trying to explain every step because we're going back to the basics with this. I'm trying to explain every single step so that those of you who have been kind of lost and not figuring it out, I want you to understand exactly where it goes, okay? So now I like to go, this is just my personal preference, back with this blush and bronzer brush. This small end of the blush and bronzer brush is so good for blending. So now for blending, all you're really doing is pressing the brush into your skin. Okay, so I like to start on my accent highlight areas. You see how I'm just stippling it? That's this motion. Up and down, right? We're not really like swiping it, anything like that. We're just stippling it. So you're gonna go under your eye, pressing it in along your mouth, in your jaw, over here. I'm gonna put a little of my regular highlight here on the side of my nose, just so I have that covered, because I think I didn't do that before. Okay. And then under your jawline, so we're just doing kind of like in between all where our contour is. And then I like to save my contour for last. It doesn't really matter. You can even blend as you go. But again, if you're just starting out, this is the way that I suggest doing it, because then you can see exactly what you have to do next, okay? So then when you're up here on your forehead, I really just like to start by pressing it in all over, making sure that it's really into my skin and blended well. So see how that, you still have the darkness up here and then the brightness here, but it doesn't look like a line, you know? So when you get to your cheek contour, you're blending it. I still like to just first take it and then just push it in all the way across. And then I like to blend up. So again, we're creating lift here to our cheekbone. So we don't want to blend it down because that makes our cheek look sunken in, and we're not trying to do that. So we're trying to lift. So you're going to like kind of, if you hold your brush like back here, you can just kind of like flick it. You see that? So then you're just blending it and flicking it up and then pressing it in. So see how now we have that awesome definition here. It looks like I have a cheekbone. It's such an illusion. It's so crazy. Okay, I love it so much. The same thing over here. So because we're trying to lift this extra on this side, we're going to really push it kind of into our hairline and still flicking it up, okay? Still flicking this up, pressing it in, flicking it up. Have you guys done it this way? Is this the way that you guys are doing your contour? Or are you learning something new? Hopefully you're still learning. So see how when I am blending this, I'm kind of blending this along up and up to my temple. So I'm blending it up. So we have this, which is how I do my contour on like a regular basis. And then we have this. See how it's even more lifted on this side? So cool. It's just so cool what you can do, even just with a little bit of placement. So if you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough contour after you've blended it, because it's really easy to overblend, okay? You can always add just a little. Just go back in, add just a little, and then you can always just blend it in with this brush even, okay? Like, it's not a big deal. You can add all the time. So don't worry, okay? So pressing it in. When you get to your jawline, we've gone up with our cheek. Now we're gonna go down with our jaw, okay? So now you're just pushing it down all along. You don't want a line here at all, okay? No lines. And I just like to blend right here too. I make my contour kind of thick. It depends on your face shape. I have a bigger face, so I feel like I can really get that contour on there. We really want it to look like a cheekbone, right? So, I mean, you're creating that illusion of having like a really super chiseled contour, right? Look at that, isn't that crazy? So lifted right here. Okay, so now with your nose, I kind of very lightly just press down where the contour is with this brush. I just press it first, and then I kind of bring it down. You want to bring it down, but not like a ton. It's really kind of tricky with the nose contour because you want to diffuse it enough to where you don't see an actual line when you're looking from the side, but you want to leave the definition there, okay? So make sure that you blend it in, but still have that definition. If you kind of lost your brightness, just go back in with your accent highlight and kind of add it back in, okay? But see how now it looks like I have a narrow nose? It's crazy. I don't actually have a narrow nose or cheekbones. So that is all you guys do. Honestly, that's it. That's all we do. So that is your main steps for highlighting and contouring. The next step is blush. Now I am gonna use, do you guys want me to do an eyeshadow look today? Or did you just want to look for the highlight and contour? I'm like, oh, I'm here. If you want me to do eyeshadow, I can. But it might make a difference what I choose for my lips. So let me know. I also need to do my brows. So I'm gonna do my brows while you guys are letting me know about the rest. Sarah, what? I wonder how you've been doing it. Okay, so for my brows, I also use that Astoria contour, the same one that I use for my nose. Okay, everybody's saying eyeshadow. Yay, you guys know I love eyeshadow. So I should have checked because I can't remember what colors are in stock right now. Shoot, I should have checked. But since I'm wearing like this navy blue, oh my gosh, Sarah. Since I'm wearing this navy blue and it kind of has pink, maybe we'll go with that and we'll do, I've kind of done pinks though. I don't know, what do you guys want to see? Pinks, neutrals, something bold, something blue, something borrowed. Okay. If you haven't used our contour for your brows, you are missing out, dude. This stuff is like the same as like a brow. It's very similar consistency to like a brow pomade. I love it. It's so good. Okay. this is like not my forte when I'm looking into this little tiny phone instead of a mirror, but we're gonna go with it. I should have maybe thought about eyeshadows. Maybe I'll just look in my compact and go with what we have in there. Okay. I'm sure this is riveting content, looking at me fill my brows in. I should have done this before. And then this hotline brush has a spoolie end on the other side. So I always use this at the end to kind of like diffuse it a little bit so that it looks more natural. Okay, but isn't that awesome? Oh crap. I wonder if my eye primer is in here. Oh, where is it? I think my eye primer is in my makeup bag. So I'll show you what you can do with just using your highlight. So you can kind of, I like to just use one of these littler brushes onto your, really any highlight color that you have. Just put it on all over, and then this is if you have an oily eyelid or you're like me and you kind of have a lot of discoloration. Like I have that same redness that I have in my face. I have that on my eyes. So I always use a primer for my eyes, always. Right now I'm just kind of mixing June and White Peach. And then we'll use a powder to set this so that it doesn't move. I usually use the Urban Decay Eye Primer Potion. So if you are in the market for, oh gosh, I wonder where my vanilla dust is. Uh-oh. Oh, it's right here. Yay. If you're in the market for a good eye primer, that's my favorite, the Urban Decay Eye Primer Potion. So I just put my highlight shade on, and then I put a little powder and then press it in, especially right here on my crease, okay? So for me, I have to do that, otherwise it's gonna all crease up. So if you're gonna use your highlights as a base for your eyes, it's totally fine, but I would really suggest using a powder. This is our Vanilla Dust. It's so awesome because it fits right there in your compact, but I really suggest using that because then you can have a really good base, okay? So let's see what we have. Oh gosh. I wish I knew it was in stock. I always like to show you colors that are in stock because then, you know, if you want them, then you have the chance to get them. Okay. Where is my Sapphire? I think I'm gonna do Sapphire, which is a blue cream. Oh my gosh, this is what happens. I do all these tutorials and then I fill these like random compacts and then I can't find it. Yes, our powder is called Vanilla Dust. That is our, oh, here it is. Our setting powder is Vanilla Dust. It's awesome. I really like that it's very light. It is a translucent color, but it's very light, so it doesn't take away from the brightness that you have going on when you added your like accent highlights. So, hold on. I'm gonna do Cupcake if I can find it. Oh guys, this is what happens when I don't plan on doing it. So I was gonna use Cupcake, but I can't find it, so I'm just going to use some other ones. Who knows where it is? I gotta reorganize all this. Okay, so these are my like normal go-to everyday favorites. This line here is my like neutral rusty colors that I love. This line here is our more like pinks and purples, which is one of my go-tos. I love it so much, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But I think I might have shown you some of these on my trip, I don't know. And then these are just like some extras that I love. So I think I'll do that middle line, which is, I was gonna maybe do blue eyeliner, but probably not. Okay, so my favorite brush for eyeshadow, you guys all know this, the eyeshadow everything brush. It's the best brush in the whole world. You can do every eye look with this one brush. If I could find Cupcake, then I was gonna start with Cupcake because Cupcake is an amazing matte, like lighter shade, and it's back in stock. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But since we don't have that, I'm going to use Unicorn, or actually maybe I'll do, I think maybe I'll do Photoshop. This is what happens, guys, on the fly. Okay, so I'm gonna use Photoshop, which is our illuminator. Here, this shade right here, I'm gonna use that on the inner corner. And when you're using it with this fluffier end, it doesn't give as dense of a like coverage, okay? So we're just gonna put that right here. And then like here in our inner corner. So it's gonna give you the brightness, but it's not gonna give you the same brightness as it would if you used your finger or even this other end. And we can always add more later if we want to, but I'm just gonna put this little bit right here first as like a base. So right here in our inner corner, and this will be the same color that we use for illuminator. That's what's so amazing about our powder illuminators. Like you can use them for illuminator, which is gonna be that would be the next step to the 3D foundation, lip and cheek and illuminator. But what's awesome is it's twice as big as these shadows, but it's $16. These are $12. So it's just a little bit more, but you get twice as much, and they're very versatile. So if you don't have like any of our powders, definitely try them because you can use them for both and they're gonna last you forever, okay? So then I'm gonna just swipe a little bit up here under my brow bone. I'm trying to keep this very soft. Yay, Sarah. You guys, I have not sent your giveaways, but I was just thinking about it today, and so I'm gonna be working on that in the next few days. And I will send all of the giveaway winners, everything. Sorry, I went on vacation and I should have sent them out to you guys, but I didn't, I'm sorry. Okay, so the next step is going to be Mama. Mama is this pink, it's very subtle, it's gorgeous, matte pink color. And I like to use this just as like a really pretty wash all over my lid, okay? So it's not gonna show up as well on camera as it does in person. It's a very subtle color, but it's just really pretty with all of these, and it's matte. So it looks good on every single skin tone, every single age. It's just beautiful. This is Mama. Okay. And then we're gonna do Lullaby, which by now you probably know is like my favorite shade in all, I don't know. I can't say favorite because I really love Zion too, but it's one of my favorites. Universally, it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's like a nude, dusty rose kind of color. Oh, it's so pretty. So we're gonna take that color and we're gonna put that into our crease. So right here, kind of above where we just did Mama. And see how this is really subtle. Oh no, Sarah. I'm so glad you're learning. Okay. Would you share pics of what you have in your triple decker? Yeah, actually, I think I've already posted that. So I'll show you. I posted like my exact, you might be able to search in the group triple decker. Maybe it'll come up, I don't know. But I can tag you after this. Okay, so this is Lullaby. It is a matte color, but it has all this pigment. It's just so pretty. So if you have a hooded eye, you're gonna focus this color keep your eye open. You're gonna focus it right up here. The key with a hooded eye is to keep going, like have it go kind of higher than you're expecting or that you think. Because when you are trying to put your color on with your eyes closed, it can really just get swallowed up. So make sure you're doing it high enough to see it. That really goes for like all eye shapes, but especially for hooded eyes. So you're gonna start here, just in this crease, doing this like windshield wiper motion back and forth. And this is for like your everyday basic look. This is the way that I do my eyeshadow on a more regular basis, but I'm gonna teach you guys some like newer, different techniques this week. So you can try out some new ways as well, but this is just my personal favorite and my preference. So see how you have that, isn't this just so pretty? It's just the best color. So we're gonna put it right here. And this one goes really well with Blondie, which is kind of like a golden shimmer. I mean, really it goes with everything. It's just such a neutral, it's so pretty. So this is Lullaby, and really, honestly, you could stop here and just have this really soft, beautiful look, right? Make sure you, this is what I like. Flip it over to this smaller end and bring that color here under your eye. I always like to bring the colors that I have on top underneath, just to kind of make everything look cohesive, and it just looks really pretty and like kind of just soft, not quite like a harsh line. So then I like to, one of my favorite colors to accent this is Kin. And Kin is this like, it's kind of a darker purple, but it sort of has like a hint of burgundy. It's just gorgeous with these. It brings out all like the purple and like the pink shades. This is one of my most recommended colors as a darker accent. So you're gonna kind of focus this right here in this corner and then bring it down along your lash line. You don't want the dark color, just like we don't want the dark contour to go inside of our, like the color portion of our eye. The same thing happens up here with eyeshadow. You just wanna really focus it here on the corner and not anywhere on the inside, okay? And we're just using a little bit. Don't worry if this happens and you get fallout, I'll show you what to do with that. I need to be like tapping this off and I wasn't. Okay, right here. Sometimes I like to do these little swirly motions because really we're just deepening this outer portion of our eye. And then kind of bringing it along our lash line. And making sure that it all blends together. See that? So really not too high. If you have a hooded eye, you can bring it a little bit higher because otherwise you really won't see this color that much. But really we're just trying to focus on having that lullaby color be like the strong focal point. You'll flip your brush over again, and then just like we don't put the dark color on the inside, on the top, we're just gonna focus that really just on this outside part. Oh, I love this color so much. Then I'm gonna go back into Photoshop, that illuminator. I'm gonna swirl it on my finger because this is what gives you a way more dense of a coverage. And we're gonna put that right here on our lid. So it's a little softer here in the inner corners and on our brow bone, but we're really gonna like bring it here a little bit more dense. If you don't have Photoshop, I'm gonna go ahead and say you need it. It's like the best. It's the best for this, but it's also just such a gorgeous like illuminator color. It's so pretty. Okay, isn't that pretty? And then I'm going to add just a little bit more of that right here. Photoshop, Brandy? Isn't it so good? Did you love it? So if you get like a little fallout or you kind of went outside your lines on your eyes, don't worry. I like to use my Buffy brush for this. You go into your accent highlight and you're just gonna kind of press it here into the corner and like lift it up and then just blend it in all along here. And then blend, blend, blend. That'll make sure that it kind of like gives you a little bit of an eye lift, and then it also makes sure that you get rid of your fallout. See that? Brandy, I know, it's so good. Photoshop, it's just the best, I think. It's a lot like Angel. So Angel Illuminator is a cream and Photoshop is a powder. They're very similar in shade, but Photoshop is a little more pigmented because it's a powder. I'm just gonna put a little bit more right here. Make sure. Okay, so then I always like to like step back, assess, make sure that everything is blended and looking exactly how you like it. And I think that looks pretty. Okay, so the color that I normally like to use, especially when I'm using Lullaby, is Plum. I wonder if I have it in here. Yeah, so Plum is a matte lip and cheek color. So I like, when I'm using our matte colors, I like to always put our lip conditioner underneath because I just want it, especially in the summer, it's like I just need that extra hydration. So I'm gonna put a little bit of our lip conditioner underneath, just right here. I have the peppermint here in my compact and it kind of like permeates the other colors. So they all have a little bit of a hint of peppermint, which is so cool. Okay. Then, okay, since we're doing highlights and contours, I guess I'm gonna show you guys how to contour your lips because let's go big or go home. So if you have a thinner lip and you're trying to create the illusion, just like we did of our cheekbone, we can create that same illusion with our lips. So this is a subtle way to do it, okay? I know a lot of you have already seen this, so sorry. I like to use this multitasker brush. So see how you have your actual natural lip line. You're gonna take this beneath that natural lip line and just kind of add a shadow there. So see how there's just that little bit of a shadow right there? We're just putting more right here. And what this does is it kind of like adds that shadow under there so it makes your lips look like they're like pouting, like little like flipped or whatever that's called. I think that's like a thing they can do now. But why? When you can just contour, right? So see how that just added that shadow and made my lip look bigger. So on the top, if you want to get crazy and you want like a really thick lip, I'm not going to do this, but see how there's that natural line, that shadow right there? You can add contour all the way up there and then put in between that line and your natural lip, like your highlight shade. That'll give you an extra large lip. But for me and like my huge lips already, I'm just gonna you're gonna go right above your natural line on the top, like right here. And then when you get to the the outside corners, you're just gonna follow your natural lip line. Then I like to just kind of use my finger and just diffuse it a little bit all over. We have that lip conditioner on there, so it really feels nice. And then you can use this same multitasker brush on the lip end and put your lip color on. This one is gonna be Plum, because Plum is a very neutral color, like basically nude, but it has like a hint of purple. So with these colors on our eyes, I think it's just like a perfect match. It looks so pretty. And for our cheeks too. Now my preference for cheeks is these new matte colors. I prefer a glossy lip and a matte cheek. That's just my personal preference, and you can do whatever you personally like. Okay. So we're gonna take our blush and bronzer brush. You really are just putting a little bit on, like you can't hardly even see it, right? Then you're gonna focus your blush at the end of where your contour is, okay? So right here, I just kind of like press it. I don't really blend it yet. You're just kind of putting it there and then kind of working it just like you did when you were blending everything else in. You're just kind of working it in and then blending it above your contour back toward your hairline. You don't want to like bring it all the way. You're really focusing most of it onto your apple of your cheek, but you are going to blend it back, okay? The same thing up here. We're trying to like lift this, so we're gonna bring this kind of above right there. So see how that's just, this is my normal preference, and then this is giving you that extra oomph, just a little bit of extra. But it's subtle, right? Can you tell that this one is even more lifted? Another thing you can do to kind of give yourself even more definition and chisel is go back in with your main highlight shade under your contour. I mixed this with a little bit of a lighter color and just go along your contour and then blend that color in. So that'll give you even more definition, right? I personally am not a huge fan of having like a line. Like we don't really want a line, just like I don't like lines on my eyeshadow. I like everything to be blended. So that's just like gonna be your personal preference, whatever your personal preference is. But that's just a way, if you think that your contour kind of is getting lost, that's a way for you to kind of bring it back in. So then I always kind of diffuse it just a little bit more. See that? See how even more lifted that is? It's crazy, right? So try that this week. Try that like higher, because it really gives a good look. So then as a final step, I like to use our Best Blend Forever brush back into that Photoshop, and this is where you're going to put your illuminator. Make sure you don't have too much, especially with the powders, because once you put the powders on, they don't budge, okay? So the creams are a lot more forgiving. So we're gonna focus this here on the highest point of our cheek, okay? Right here. Can you tell? Every time I do this on camera, I can't see it, and then I look in the mirror and it's like, whoa, that's a lot. I feel like I got this cheek color a little bit too high, so that's okay. We can bring it down. Right here. And then you can put a little bit right here on your Cupid's bow. And then just a tiny bit right here on your nose. Just like whatever's left on your brush. This brush is so good for this. So then basically you're finished. If you have mature skin or you're nervous that maybe you're using too much, you must finish with this step. This is our perfector sponge, and this is what I do every time. I just kind of press it, make sure it's wet, and you get it all the way wet, wring it out so that now it's just like this damp, there's no water in it. But we're just kind of bouncing it all over our skin. So especially under our eyes or places where our makeup wants to settle, we're just pressing this in, picking up anything that might be extra or not, or wanting to settle. This is just like a final like insurance step to make sure that everything is blended, okay? But it also picks up any extra. So see how I thought I was good to go, but I had all that extra. So it's awesome. And then I like to do that step first, and then I spray again at the end with Stay Spray. Now for this step, I just normally spray it right on my face, and then I'll show you. So make sure you're bringing it out, spray it like 2 or 3 times. It's on there pretty densely. So you can either like fan this out or go back with your, very lightly with your sponge and just make sure that it's all in there evenly. And then this should be enough for most of us. If you have very oily skin, then you're gonna wanna take this one last insurance step and put our vanilla dust or a translucent powder. I like to use we have a bundle for this in the bundles section. It's the blush and bronzer brush with vanilla dust. It takes $10 off. It's so awesome. So the key with powder is you're not fluffing it over, because we just worked so hard to get everything in place. So we're not trying to disturb that. We're just going to press in. So make sure that you've picked up all the excess that might be settling, and then you put this powder. So you're just pressing it here under your eye or in the areas that you get oily. That's not going to be your whole face. If you're used to a more matte finish, I know that it's hard to get used to this dewiness, but it really, all the life that comes to our face with this makeup, try to embrace that and try not to like put powder all over, okay? Because we really don't, it's not like we're sweating on our cheeks most of the time. We're sweating, on our forehead, we're sweating around our nose, on our upper lip. So those are the places that I put a setting powder. So just like right here. Basically, it's anywhere that you had your accent brighter highlight. So I put some right here. Sometimes I go a little bit higher, and then I don't even have anywhere to go. This is sad. And then that's it, guys. How long did that take? Forever. But when you're not explaining in great detail every single step, it really is quick. I am going to put one final like layer of like Summer Love over my lips, because I personally prefer the more like glossy look. So I'm just gonna put some Summer Love, but that's totally up to you if you like the matte on your lips or glossy. But that's it. I hope you guys found this helpful. I know that a lot of times we're doing like eyes and lips, and we haven't really gone totally back to the basics on a full face. So I know this is a longer video, but I wanted to bring it back. I wanted to show you every single step, and maybe I will edit this down and put it into like different like sections so that you can see it later. But I'll save this to the announcements tab, because this is, I think, will be helpful for you to kind of reference back. But yay, I'm glad you guys had fun. Thank you. This is one of my favorite looks. It's very natural, but still beautiful, right? Yay, Amy, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that everybody thought this was fun. I'm gonna try to do more like classes coming up. So look for the signups for those classes. That'll be a lot more condensed. I don't know exactly the number. Maybe I think I'm gonna cut it off at like 10 per class. So that way it's not too overwhelming, and then we can kind of troubleshoot or learn individually, like where you're gonna do your makeup with me at the same time. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna try to get those together this week. All right, girls, I hope you have a good rest of your night. I'll take a picture of this final look. Maybe I'll take my crazy hair down. I went to bed with it wet, and it's like, maybe I should show you. Look at how big this is. It looks like, oh, it doesn't even look bad. It looked so crazy earlier, and I put that Perfect Hair Day by Living Proof in because I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like so frizzy and crazy. But I think that Perfect Hair Day is helping a little bit. Anyway, good night, girls. I will talk to you. I think I'm gonna go live again tomorrow because I just can't get enough. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.